So not even a week until my trip to America, my friend decided, hey, let's just go to New York City on a whim. So what do? We booked tickets that were very cheap to New York City, and somehow we made it there. The night before, we went to Hoboken, but I didn't get any footage there. But the next day, we went ahead and we took the train from Jersey City into New York, and we went to the Oculus at the World Trade Center, and we walked down to find some pizza. Apparently, there's this good pizza place in Tribeca. So here's Tribeca, us looking for pizza. Tribeca was very plain and it was pretty boring, so there wasn't much to see. I can't believe people pay so much to live in Tribeca specifically. Eventually, we got to Washington Square Park, where we sat down for our picnic, which was just pizza and soda. And after finding a piece of dry grass, which was very hard because it rained the day before, we just sat in our jackets and we went ahead and ate our pizza. There were so many people here, so we started freaking out and we sat all by ourselves because of COVID. We did not expect anyone to be at this park on this random day, but this wasn't just a random day. This was the day Biden won the presidency. So everyone was going crazy. They were very dramatically celebrating. It was wildness in the streets. It was very unexpected. So that's the footage that we got from there. And so because more and more people kept coming, we decided it was time for us to leave. Our cameo on CNN was good enough. So we went ahead and we started walking down the NYU campus, and more people honked at us since we're the only brown people in the area, saying, "Yay, Biden won!" And that brings us to the next segment of the trip, which was the long walk from Washington Square Park to the East Village. So as you can see here, we are making our way from in Washington Square Park to the East Village to go to a thrift store. Now, when people talk about new money and new New Yorkers and whatever the sort, I see what they're talking about. You can tell who's new to New York and who's there to make it and who's actually from New York. I don't know how to explain it, but there's just a different type of grit. I don't want to be stereotypical, but there's just something different about the New Yorkers from people who weren't from New York. Needless to say, walking through the East Village, and I think Greenwich maybe, that was the most annoying part of the trip. And when I moved to Manhattan, I would never want to live there. That was very irritating. But eventually we did make it down to the thrift store. I didn't buy anything because my baggage was overfilled and I had no money. I came to New York to eat this trip, not to buy anything, but next time I'm definitely going to come ready to check in a bag and with some more money so I can go to all these different thrift stores, which was by far the best thrift stores I've been to. Paris is a very close match, but New York was somehow better. After this, we did end up going to Central Park, as you're going to see in the next clip, but we had to take an Uber because I wanted to take pictures before the sun went down, which we didn't end up making it. We got off at 5th Ave, and we went to this place that they said that John Wick was filmed at. I don't know what John Wick is. I've never seen a John Wick movie, but this is John Wick. They kept saying it. And the pictures didn't turn out that well. They turned out all right, but it was a problem with the camera quality, my skin color, and the lack of sunlight. Central Park was very underwhelming. It's just tan, the river was dirty, or the lake, whatever that is. It just wasn't what I expected. Moving on. We had to go downtown to find, or Midtown, wherever this is, to go find Zara so that I could buy some clothes because I decided to wear a tank top in the middle of in the middle of winter. So this is us walking down. This is a really cool part. I feel like I was in a postcard. This is like the New York I feel like everyone was talking about, Midtown, with all the stores, the cars, the people. We saw Canal Street. We saw train stations. Not saying that we didn't see them the whole time, but there's a train station. And the streets were wild, everybody crossing everywhere, and that was a really cool part of the trip. It really felt New York-y. I really like New York at night better than during the day, because the architecture isn't impressive, but I guess that at night it looks really cool because of all the lights. And that's us going through the train station to go to down Midtown, near the Empire State Building. This is us going near the Empire State Building. We were really close to Broadway. I wanted to go to Broadway and Times Square, but we didn't make it. Plus, it was COVID, so we were trying to avoid the crowds, which weren't as bad. It was very clean. New York was a very clean city because of COVID, and there also wasn't that crowded around. We didn't really hear many tourists or people who look like tourists, so maybe because they were following the rules. But we flew into Jersey, okay? We followed the rules. So there's the hot dog stand that I didn't get a hot dog at because we were rushing because it was cold outside and our feet hurt because I was wearing heels. Other people were wearing heels. It was just too much. Eventually, we did make it into Koreatown to eat, which was not by far, but it was the coolest part of Manhattan. I would never live here. It was definitely way too loud, but I do want to come back to Koreatown and just eat and party and stuff because it seems so cool. I love the lights. I've never been to Korea, but it was kind of like how I imagined Korea to look like. And they had a lot of Asian grocery stores, and you could buy like a lot of cool stuff like green tea Kit Kats. And then we had to call it a night to go back to Jersey, hang out at the apartment building, which was so nice, by the way. And so we went into the Oculus. Eventually, we got there through the trains, and this is under the World Trade Center, or next to the World Trade Center. And this was the coolest train station there. It reminded me of a Hauptbahnhof in Europe, like the main train stations. It was very clean. It just didn't have a lot of people, but it had like a shopping center and stuff, so it was very European. And this is us the next day in Brooklyn. This was the best part of New York. Brooklyn was the best part. Even though I spent the least amount of time in Brooklyn, we stayed on the outer edge in the Dumbo area. We walked through a little bit, but we didn't walk through that much because we didn't have time. We were losing daylight and we had plans for later that night. But apparently my friend saw a famous TikToker crossing the street. I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. I was getting this footage. But I mean, just look at Brooklyn. It's so like plain, but it felt like way more like a home place than New York. You can definitely tell it was a suburb. Also noticed that New York was very segregated, which I did not expect. I've been all over the South, so the South's pretty segregated, but New York was definitely mostly white and very classist too. I saw most people who looked like they had money around Manhattan and Brooklyn. There's Manhattan Bridge, and there's the Brooklyn Bridge, and that's us in Dumbo. I just kept thinking of the Jay-Z song. You know, the one he was like, I could have bought a house in Dumbo. You guys know what I'm talking about? But that's me trying to skip rocks. Didn't work out very well, but I got some cool footage for another video that I posted on my Instagram from short films. And we also took a lot of pictures here, and this photographer wanted to take pictures of me, but I said no because I freaked out. But I didn't know what else to film, so I got my friends here having a conversation. How are you guys feeling?
Good. I have Hunchback of Notre Dame. You should have told me. I'm just kidding. Oh, Valen, why didn't you tell me you were recording? I was like, can you believe this? Yeah, and then we need to go to get Eileen cheesecake. That's the best. Oh, are we still gonna go to Greenwich?
Okay, so for those of you who are wondering, we did not make it to Greenwich. In fact, we didn't make it anywhere I wanted to go because we were on a time limit. I wanted to go to Crown Heights so I can get a beef patty and eat some good Caribbean food, but no one else wanted to, so we didn't have time to do it, and they didn't want to go that deep into Brooklyn after dark because they're scared of everything. So we ended up walking the Brooklyn Bridge, and we walked through Brooklyn a little bit. As you can see here, we walked through downtown Brooklyn. I think we walked near where Grand Army was filmed, that show on Netflix. So it didn't come out back then, but like seeing it on the TV was cool, whatever. You guys didn't ask. But the Brooklyn Bridge, I did not want to walk it. I'm very scared of heights, extremely scared of heights. But this was the highlight of the trip. It was so cool walking through the city at night, and you could see the on the river and the sunset and the lights and the bridge and the people. And there was like, you could tell the tourists and the New Yorkers were just like straight across. I couldn't believe people cross this bridge every single day, and I'm crossing it like it's just a big attraction. I don't even know what's so cool about this bridge, besides the fact that it looks really cool. I don't know, is there history behind it? Put it in the comments down there. But I did not want to walk it because I thought you walked on the edge, but apparently that's the Manhattan Bridge and not the Brooklyn Bridge. So what did I do? I walked the bridge, I put on my headphones, I listened to Brooklyn Baby by Lana Del Rey because I'm lame, so that's what I did. It only took like 10 to 15 minutes to cross it, and that was just walking super slow. And then we went down into the next to this courthouse, like when you get off the bridge, which apparently is where like Law and Order and stuff is filmed at. So that was cool to see, and we caught an Uber to go get cheesecake. And I think, was it Greenwich? I don't know where the cheesecake was. It was Eileen's cheesecake. Quick review, it was all right. It wasn't the best cheesecake ever. It tastes like European cheesecake, like German cheesecake, which I don't really like. It tastes like crumpled up cardboard. I was expecting more of like a Cheesecake Factory cheesecake, but I mean, it wasn't bad or anything. It just wasn't really what I had expected. And we ended the night back at the apartment, and we ate the cheesecake because it was my friend's brother's birthday. And this is the last footage I've got of New York City. And I just want to say, I felt like I was more house hunting on this trip than going on vacation, because the city just felt like home, and I do really want to live here. It was so much fun. I can't wait to go back. I have to go back before I eventually move there when I graduate college. We're going to see together how I end up in New York. I don't know how I'm going to get to New York. I don't know what's going to happen in New York, but I do know this is the next city I want to live in. And you guys should go because it was really fun. It was really cool. And this is the perfect time to go because there wasn't a lot of tourists. Just be safe because of COVID.